Good afternoon and welcome to BDN's workshop series. I am the moderator, Dr. Tamika Fuller, along with the future Dr. Christopher Newman. Today we will hear from Dr. Ida Joyner, whose workshop title is Full Steam Ahead to Your Next Job Opportunity. Dr. Joyner has more than 20 years of experience in project management, instructional design, technology consulting, education, and research. She also serves as a guest lecturer on emerging technologies. At this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Joyner, our presenter, who will tell us more about herself and delve deeper into the STEAM positions.
Thank you, Dr. Tamika. I'm Dr. Ida Joyner, and I'm so happy to be here to share some of my gems that I've learned over the years on career opportunities in the STEAM area. And just a little bit more about myself. I am an educator, a librarian, project manager, instructional designer, had a myriad of opportunities. At present, I assist with Snapology. That's one of the hats that I wear. And we work with K-12 scholars to teach them robotics so that they will pursue STEM majors once they attend university, and ultimately STEM careers, because we have over 5 million unfilled STEM positions in this country, and we need all hands on deck for the U.S. to continue its technological leadership in this global competitive economy. So let's plow full steam ahead to your next career opportunity. And in this presentation, I'm going to share with you a little bit about STEAM, some of the most popular STEAM careers, where you can find information on those careers. And because I thought that there would be some people on this webinar who might be interested in, who might have students who are interested in STEAM careers, want to learn a little bit more, and some who might be looking at career transitions, and also who might be interested in postdoctoral fellowships. So I included information on postdoctoral fellowships as well. Upon completion of this webinar, you're going to be able to research, locate, and apply for the myriad of unfilled STEAM positions and postdoctoral fellowships here in the United States. What is STEAM, you might ask? Well, it's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so some of the STEAM jobs are software development, data analysis, engineering, robotics, graphic design, multimedia, arts, architecture. And with the increasing demand, as I mentioned, we have about 5 million unfilled positions in this country. There is more demand than supply. And so individuals who pursue STEAM careers can have financially lucrative careers. It's an excellent path for individuals who are passionate about innovation, problem solving, creativity, teamwork, collaboration, many of the 21st century technology skills that employers look for. Popular STEAM jobs in the United States are software developer engineers. It's not uncommon for someone to obtain a position as a software engineer making at least $120,000 a year. Data scientists, very hot area right now. UX, UI designers, where you utilize your artistic skills, design skills, programming. Those are hot jobs. Mechanical engineers, of course, all your engineering fields. aerospace engineering, mechanical, civil, mobile app developers. Artificial intelligence is huge. Some of you might be utilizing the fun Chat GPT, which is extremely exciting, and cloud computing, robotics. I mean, they're just all of there are a lot of careers in STEAM that are exciting. And when students major in them, again, they have great opportunities. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that employment in these fields is going to increase by at least 8.8% from 2020 to 2030. Where can you find some of these STEAM jobs? LinkedIn, it's a popular professional networking website. It's a great place if you're looking to network as well as to find positions. Indeed, they list job openings for thousands of websites. And they also include company career pages, job boards, and even staffing agencies, which are good. So if you're looking for example, technology position, Pyramid is a good staffing agency. Robert Half, there are many out there. Glassdoor provides company reviews, salary information, job listings. Monster, that's very popular. And Dice is a little bit more specialized in listing tech jobs, and including STEM jobs as well. And other places are Simply Hired, ZipRecruiter, and ZipRecruiter actually uses an AI tool that if you include some of your keywords for a type of position that you're looking for, it will match you pretty closely to some of your occupational job searches. Career Builder is very popular as well. And if you're looking for a position with the federal government, USA Jobs is great. And the National Society for Black Engineers, and that organization promotes STEAM careers for African Americans. It's a great organization, and provides information on a myriad of STEM opportunities. Let's do a deeper dive into some of the popular STEAM jobs. And I have these organized by science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So we'll start with the science jobs. And so some of the science jobs that are popular are medical scientists, environmental scientists, chemists, biologists, physicists, and with a little description of each one of these jobs. So with a medical scientist, you're of course conducting research because your goal is to improve human health. So studying the causes of diseases and working to develop new treatments, vaccines, and medical technologies. Environmental scientists, you can think of the environment and the effects that human activity has on it. Chemists study the composition and properties of substances at both the molecular and the atomic level. And so chemists might work in a variety of industries: pharmaceuticals, material science, and environmental science. Biologists study living organisms and their interactions with the environment. And some of the specializations are genetics, ecology, and microbiology. Physicists, they study the fundamental properties of matter and energy and how they interact with each other. And some of those areas where physicists might work are astronomy, material science, and also in engineering. The next part of STEM, technology, software developer, engineer. And so they design and develop software programs and applications, devices and platforms. I have some friends who are software developers and engineers. And if any of you are familiar with the Chat GPT, they actually took some of their code that they wrote and placed it in the Chat GPT just to see which one was better. But software developers, engineers, that's probably the hottest career right now. And data scientists, analysts, certainly next. You'll find that more graduate programs are being offered for data scientists and analysts. And so it's a hot area. It uses statistical analysis and machine learning techniques, and it extracts insights from large data sets. So this is an area that is growing by leaps and bounds. Cybersecurity specialists. We know that security breaches are all over the board. So anybody who has this kind of expertise in cybersecurity, where they help to protect computer networks and systems from unauthorized access, data breaches, and other security threats, that's a very lucrative career for individuals who have that skill set. Cloud computing, everybody, the software that we use, it's in the cloud. And so cloud computing engineers, they design and manage cloud-based systems. And then you have your mobile app developers. Everybody just about has a mobile phone. And so, or a smartphone, a tablet. And so mobile app developers, they design and develop applications for those devices. And they use a variety of programming languages and also platforms. Engineering, the E, mechanical engineers, very popular. They design and develop mechanical systems and devices such as engines, machines, and tools. I can tell you, as someone who has a strong background in drones, a lot of people who, engineers who move into, who are interested in drones and building drones and flying drones and programming them and things that are related to drones are mechanical engineers. And it's a very lucrative field, and it's growing. There's so many things that you can do with a mechanical engineering degree. Electrical engineers, they design and develop electrical systems. You can think of power generation, distribution systems, communication systems, and electronic devices. So there's a strong demand for electrical engineers as well. And our civil engineers, they design and oversee the construction of infrastructures such as buildings, bridges, roads, and water supply systems. And there's a high, of course, demand for that too. When you look at, I'm actually here in Texas, and everywhere you go, there's construction, whether it's bridges, roads, buildings, and in the news, we hear a lot about water supply systems, how there are problems with them around the United States. So civil engineer, hot career as well. Chemical engineers, as the name implies, they design and develop chemical processes and products. And so many of them work in with pharmaceuticals, plastics, and fuels. So again, with our environment, with what's going on around the country, actually around the world, there's a high demand for chemical engineers. And aerospace engineers, they design and develop aircraft, spacecraft, satellites, missiles, and they specialize in areas such as aerodynamics, propulsion, and material science. A little bit of trivia. When I was writing my dissertation that basically explored the role of drones in engaging college students to pursue STEM careers, what I discovered was that more than 51% of aerospace engineers are women. And so that was very exciting for me to hear. Aerospace engineers, a lot of work, of course, with aviation, drones. And so, of course, with the way drones are being used in every facet of our society as lifesavers, life changers, and some would say life destroyers, there's that popularity, and it's going to continue to grow and be exciting and move in directions that we haven't even thought about yet. So those are the Let's move on to the art jobs. And A lot of people would think of STEM, the science, technology, engineering, math. However, there's the art component, and there are some exciting careers that are related to STEM and are art based. So you have your user experience designers. They design digital interfaces, experiences that are user friendly and intuitive. And the salaries, it's not uncommon for a person who has user experience, who's a UX designer, to make over figures. There's a high demand. 3D modeling, 3D modelers, they create models and designs for a variety of purposes. Animation, gaming. We know gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and product design, multi-billion-dollar industry. And animation as well. And so with that skill set, there are lots of opportunities, financially lucrative opportunities. Virtual reality. Virtual reality, a VR designer, we're seeing it in many areas. There's a lot of VR being used in immersive digital experiences, in training, any kind of learning fields. I mean, it's an area that is really, really popular. And with that skill set, you're looking at six figures as well. Sound designers, sound used in games, films, and other digital media. We know that training, for example, training that's developed e-learning is going to have a lot of multimedia, the video game. So with that expertise, it's both exciting and financially lucrative for the sound designers. Creative technologies use technology and creative problem-solving skills to create innovative digital solutions. So if you have that technology side and that creative side, it's a win-win, and you're going to make a lot of money. So those are the areas that are under the art of STEAM. The next one are the math jobs. We know that most jobs of the future are going to have a strong math background. There's going to be some kind of math component. And so right now, some of the real hot math jobs are actuaries. They use math and statistics to assess risk and calculate the probability of future events, such as accidents, natural disasters, and financial market trends. A term that I learned when I was doing my study abroad through Texas Wesleyan at the Oxford University Zoological Institute, I met with a roboticist, and I learned existential risk. And so existential risk, those are events that could render humanity extinct. So, for example, the person I met with, the roboticist, she studied what would happen if all of the satellites all over the world crashed at the same time, that somebody hacked them and they all went down. What would that mean for humanity? So I wanted to mention that. Data scientists, they use math and statistics to analyze large amounts of data. And so they often use programming language like Python, which is very popular. Statisticians, as the name implies, statistics, they design and conduct experiments, surveys, and polls where they collect and analyze data. And they use these statistical methods to communicate and to interpret and communicate their findings. We have our mathematicians. They use advanced mathematical theories and concepts where they solve real world problems. And they often work in research and development roles. Then you have your operations research analysts, where they use math and statistical models to help organizations solve complex problems and make key informed So those are some of the hot areas right now for people who have a math, and I would say math, statistical, and programming background. Those are some of the hot opportunities. Wanted to include in here about if you are interested in finding an academic position, where might you look? Job boards. And so some of the job boards are higher ed jobs, academic careers, inside the Chronicle of Higher Education, where you can search by discipline, location, or even keywords. Another area is to network with your colleagues, talk to your colleagues, attend conferences and workshops like BDN that was in at the end of October, and with many faculty positions aren't advertised publicly. And so when you network with your colleagues, you might find out about a position that hasn't been advertised yet. And you get a heads up on it, and you have a contact person. You can professional associations. There are many professional associations where you can join in your area of expertise, and they have job boards and career resources available to their members. So, for example, I'll just say the American Library Association, for example, on their website, there's LEDA, where their technology and actually STEAM positions, all kinds of technology related positions. And so you can see them and you can apply for some of those. If you're an information professional librarian, they have them. And there are other professional associations, like, for example, the National Society of Black Engineers. That's another one. And there are many out there. IEEE. And so there are some that are related to science, technology, engineering, and math. So the other ones, and art, of course. You can identify research universities and institutions and then check their websites for faculty positions. So, for example, if you know that you want to move to the Boston, Cambridge area, and you're interested in MIT, for example, because you have a STEM background, you could go to their website and see what faculty positions they might have open. Or it just depends on if you're looking to move to a particular region. So in my case, if I wanted to move back to Pittsburgh, for example, and I wanted a STEAM position, I could go directly to Carnegie Mellon University's website. So that's just an example. And so you check your websites and for faculty positions that match your qualifications and your interests. Another would be to apply for grants and fellowships, and they can help experience and funding for your research. And this might make you a more attractive candidate for faculty positions as well. And so a strong application package would include a cover letter, your CV, your research statement, and your teaching statement. And you would want to have a unique CV, cover letter, research statement, and teaching statement for each position that you're applying for. I want to segue into postdoctoral fellowships because there might be people who are interested in postdoctoral fellowships. And postdoctoral fellowships, those are temporary academic positions that allow newly minted, recent doctoral graduates to conduct research, acquire new skills, and gain professional experience in their field of study. And they can vary from a few months to several years, depending on funding and and other things. And they might be funded by a government agency, private foundation, or even the academic institution. I'm going to spend a little bit of time with showing some of the popular STEAM postdoctoral fellowships. And I apologize for this. I forgot to turn the notifications off, so I apologize for that. But some of the popular STEAM fellowships, the Fulbright, some of you might have even been a Fulbright scholar. And the Fulbright Fellowship, it provides funding for research, study, teaching abroad, including STEAM. And I have the address here, and if time permits, we'll actually visit a couple of these websites. The Hertz Foundation Fellowship, and they provide funding for PhD students in applied physical, biological, and engineering sciences. The Ford Foundation supports PhD and postdoctoral students who are underrepresented in their fields, including STEM. The National Institutes of Health, the Ruth Kirstein National Research Service Award, and that provides support for postdoctoral research in biomedical and behavioral research fields. And we have the National Science Foundation Postdoctoral Research Fellowship, and that provides support for postdoctoral research in STEM fields. The National Defense Science and Engineering Postdoctoral Fellowship. This fellowship, it provides funding for postdoc research in STEM fields related to national defense, which would be an assumption looking at the title of it. The American Association for the Advancement of Science and Technology, Science and Technology Policy Fellowship. And this provides an opportunity for PhD students and engineers to work on policy issues in the federal agencies or Congress. The Howard Hughes Medical Institute provides support for PhD students in biomedical and life sciences who come from underrepresented backgrounds. The University of California wanted to include this in here. They have the President's Postdoctoral Fellowship Program, and some of the universities, you can see, they're not just on the West Coast, they're in Michigan, Colorado, so the University of Michigan, Colorado, Maryland, Carnegie Mellon University, the University of Minnesota, New York University, University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and there are other universities as well. And so I wanted to include that information. And also, some of you might have met the representatives from the Frederick Douglass Institute. And so they have a fellowship where there are several universities that are, I believe there are about 14 universities that are associated with this, with the Frederick Douglass Collaborative. And are there any questions? And what we can do is we have some time. So I can bring up some of these websites so that we can do a deeper dive into them.
Hi, Dr. Joyner. So I have two questions
Yes.
for you. So my first question is in regard to STEAM within the Black community and particularly within Black academics. Just in knowing just a little bit about STEAM, kind of on a global scale, in that a lot of European and even Asian nations are ahead of the United States as far as STEAM development. and as far as STEAM education, really focusing in on that at the grade level
Yes.
as a way to prepare um, students once they get into the secondary or even the college level
Yes.
education and productivity. So my first question is, um, especially for young persons of color
Yes.
in middle school, high school, even elementary school, what are some productive ways to really market and and display STEAM within Black schools or schools that are predominantly that have a predominant African American or persons of color student body, and then also how to really push STEAM forward within the Black community, um, especially considering the fact that, as you mentioned about water treatment, we know that the Black community is very often the last to receive any type of federal aid or any type of assistance, in water treatment and air pollution and so on. So that's my first question. And then my second question was, I was interested in what the individual had mentioned to you about, if the satellites were to crash. I was curious as to what actually would happen with that. So those are my two questions for you.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much. These are great questions. What I'm finding, well, as we know that the United States is behind. I mean, 1 in 7 students here in the United States majors in science or engineering, compared to 2 out of 3 in China. And so there's a lot of catching up to do. And I'm seeing an increase. I'm here in Texas, and I'm at a lot of schools, and what I'm finding is that, and these are schools that are predominantly scholars of color, so they're African American and Hispanic, and so there are. So they have different projects where they work on, where they have where they give prizes. There are after school programs. There's such a dearth of scholars of color in STEAM that schools and teachers are really taking it upon themselves to engage the students, the scholars, to get a passion for it. I'll give you an example too. The Snapology that I mentioned, where I do some of the workshops, these are at inner city African American, Black, and Hispanic kiddos, and we have Legos, and so the kiddos, scholars, they are building robots with Legos, and so that getting that passion for them. I often share videos and also talk to the scholars, and this would be pre-K all the way to 12th grade, because every kiddo is familiar with Legos, and many of them are familiar with the Bugatti Chiron. I'd never heard of the car before, but they knew, even though many of them were these were Title I schools, they knew about the Bugatti Chiron. And there's videos actually where a Bugatti Chiron was built, where they built a Bugatti Chiron out of 1 million Lego parts, and it drove. And so we watch the video together. We talk about it. We talk about what backgrounds they will need, the strong math, the reading, problem solving, critical thinking, all those 21st century skills. And we watched the video, and then afterwards I asked them, okay, why did I show you this video? And they will say, because you know that we're smart, and if the Bugatti Chiron is selling for, say, for example, $4 million, what does that mean for the software engineer? What does that mean for the person who owns the dealership? And just breaking it down for them to try to get that to get that passion in them about how important it is. And the other thing is teaching them about Lonnie Johnson, because they're all familiar with the Nerf gun and the Super Soaker, and let them know that this Black man who, when he was young, was tinkering and went on to be almost a billionaire because of his Super Soaker and Nerf guns that he actually created by accident. That they can major in engineering and they can be just like him. And so showing them videos, showing them the children's books about him and other Katherine Johnson. I mean, just letting them see these inventors, these scientists, these people who made these innovations, who 5 years ago we never heard of. And just exposing the kids to this, and exposing the kids to people who are engineers, who look like them, who are women who look like them, you know, encouraging, working with girls to program. I just got a kit that I won from PCS Adventures, and it's Rockin' Robots. It came with 6 robots and thing you can think of for the curriculum that I can use with students. And having the after school programs, having programs in your library. On some weekends, I'm at Frisco Public Library, where I'm actually doing introduction to drones workshops. So these kids, they get to see the drones, they get to fly the drones, they get to just be as creative as they want to be. So so those are ways to engage the kids, the kiddos, to get a love for STEM, and to let them know that because they look like me and look like you and others, that they can still be scientists and roboticists, and just reinforcing that. And drones, I do a lot of work with drones. My dissertation I mentioned was on drones. I published on drones, and so they are a great hook for getting kids to be passionate about STEM. And the other thing that's really important is for those scholars, kiddos, to have mentors who will follow them throughout their journey. Because what I found is that many of the parents, they don't know. And so if they don't know, well, then they can't really steer their kids in that direction, you know, if they don't know. I mean, and so so going to those community centers and after school programs, and when the parents come and to pick the kids up, showing them what this robot that's walking around, that they're I call them angels, that their angel created. That's a hook to get the parents involved too. And so the water treatment that you mentioned, that's a huge issue. It's a huge issue all over the world. It's a huge issue all over the United States. And so we need all hands on deck to be majoring in these different fields. And to kind of digress a little bit, there's an article I'm going to mention this journal. It's called the Negro Educational Review. So you know it's old. It's called the Negro Educational Review. Well, I peer reviewed an article that was in there, and when I looked at the the journal, there was an article, excuse me, on the dearth of Blacks in STEM. And it was an eye opener for me. I actually presented the article in one of my doctoral classes. But one of the reasons why we don't see Blacks, minorities, and women in STEM is because people were steered away from it. And the gentleman who, Dr. James Conant, who went on to be the president of Harvard, he was on the ETS and other standardized tests, and believed that that Blacks, other minorities, women, and some poor whites basically lacked the intellectual capacity to go into the STEM areas, because the STEM areas were where, and they still are, where the financially lucrative positions are. So I want to mention that as well, that there's a reason why there aren't that as many as should be, need to be in STEM. And one thing that I would tell all my female students is that trying to encourage them to major in STEAM, because one example in my research for my dissertation was that if women had been on the committee panel to develop the seatbelt, we would have thousands of lives saved every year, because the seatbelt was not designed for a woman or for a child. It was designed for a grown male. And so the data is there at how many people die whose lives could have been saved if that seatbelt had been created, designed, if a woman had been on that committee. Because if a woman had been on that committee, she would have said, wait a minute, what about us?
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
I had a few things. One of them you kind of answered. I was going to ask you if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You mentioned
Yes.
Frisco. I'm in Mansfield.
Oh, okay, great. Yes, that's a nice affluent area where we have a lot of African American middle class and upper class people.
Oh yeah. So Dr. Allen posted in the chat. She said,
Oh.
I have K-5 science certification here in Georgia. When I was a classroom teacher, many of the elementary schools are doing STEM projects outside of yearly science fairs throughout the year, because many elementary schools are trying to earn STEAM certifications. Dr. Allen, did you want to extend on that?
Hi, everyone. So I know there was a conversation about how schools are, trying to expose children to STEM or STEAM pathways. And I was just giving my experience as a classroom teacher. Well, when I was a classroom teacher, how a lot of schools here in Georgia, because I taught at a lot of Title I schools around the Atlanta metro area, a lot of them are doing STEM throughout the year so they can earn certification. So there are these projects that they do for grade bands for K2 and 3-5 based on whatever themes they have throughout the year. So it gives children an opportunity to, go through the process of doing an experiment, using that vocabulary, but also extending it outside of the classroom to the community, where they attend, different STEAM related experiences, like going to Legoland or going to the aquarium, and kind of applying what they learn within the classroom to those experiences. So it was just something I made a connection with.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you.
Hey, I also had a question.
Yes.
So I teach economics at the community college here. So one of the slides kind of piqued my interest. that was dealing with AI. So how is artificial intelligence impacting the demand for STEAM jobs from what you've seen in the field? Do you think it's helping or hindering us more?
Um, I think it's helping. And I can tell you that right now, the probably the most popular technology is that Chat GPT. I mean, it's really popular. When I went to, I've been tinkering with it for several weeks now, and I can tell you that that they're almost. I actually got a message, even though I ignored it, that to basically come back later because it was already they're already I'll say already people who they had gotten to their limit for the amount of people using it. And so I know that AI is being used, in education. I mean, it's used. It's all over. And I mentioned the Chat GPT because they don't know the limitations of it, and they don't know how it can be policed. And so there are some people who are afraid of it. And I know that in the past with artificial intelligence, there have been issues with I'll say the data that where it would I don't want to say criminalize, but it just with people who people of color, and so so I mean I'm not afraid of the Chat GPT. I find it exciting, and it's this morning I had it write an ode to drones song for me. So for my research philosophy, I gave criteria that I wanted, and within 3 minutes, it had generated a research philosophy. And basically, what it does is it's like a trusted friend, colleague, who you can present an idea, and it will run with it. And then you can in turn use it as like an introduction and run with it. You can ask it a lot of things, and it'll be just like a trusted colleague and give you suggestions. I actually took one of my my article on drones, agriculture's new best friend, and I copied the entire article into Chat GPT, and I asked for suggestions for improvement. And it said, well written, and these are the suggestions that I have for improving this article.
Thank you. I know we have about 5 minutes left. Was there anything you would like to say in closing?
Oh wow, time goes by
Time
very
went by
quickly.
fast.
I thought I had another 15 minutes to actually go through some of these websites that that I have. And so if there's any information that you want me to put into the chat, if you want to, wow, I didn't realize it was that quickly. I'm going to go to the last screen, and here's my information if you want to reach out to me. And so I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, my email. And so you can reach out to me with any questions. Again, is there anything you want me to put in the chat before we end?
Could you drop some of those websites you were going to show us?
Sure.
And that way we can capture them.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Dr. Joyner, for your presentation. Your topic was very insightful. Thank you all for attending the workshop. Before we leave, please complete the evaluation. The link is left in the chat. And please join us for upcoming events. So some of the events that we have coming up are, we have the virtual writing and productivity retreat, which occurs tomorrow from 12 to 3 Eastern. We also have the Build Your Doctoral Toolkit, which also occurs tomorrow from 7:30 to 8:30. On April 10th, we have an introduction to APIs for big data assembly and research, which is a part of our workshop series. That will occur from 12 to 1:15. And we also have our Western Regional Conference, which will be located in Los Angeles this month on April 22nd. And there's also a link in the chat to sign up for any of those events. So thank you again, Dr. Joyner.
Thank you. And I am going to throw a couple more in here, and let's see here. Okay. And I have more too. So these were just some of the fellowships. I had about 50.
Oh, wow.
And so I just picked some of the ones that I thought would be popular. So if you want any more, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to send them along. And if anyone is interested in the James Conan article, The Dearth of Blacks in STEM, I would be happy to send you the information for that. It's a very, very informative article.
That would be wonderful.
Yes, and I'm going to include my email in the chat. If you can also send that, I would love to take a look at that.
Okay, great. I'd be happy to. It's a great article.
Are they still publishing articles in that journal?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I will. I'll send you the information for it. But yes, they are. It was on hiatus for a little bit, but no, they're still publishing articles. The editor-in-chief is my mentor, and so there were several articles in that issue. There was an article that was about Black and Asian women and the basically the struggles that they have in academia. There was an article that was about 5 Black males who went to suburban schools and the microaggressions and just that they encountered on a daily basis, and the entire issue was very informative. And it's the Negro Educational Review, and I will actually, I'm going to do a quick screen capture, and this way I have it. So what I will do is I'll send you the information for it, and that way, because there might be other people who you might want to share it with as well. And so I'll send it after this call, and that way you'll have it right away. But it is a very informative issue, and you can get it through EBSCO. And so if you're at a university, you'll be able to get it right away. And if you aren't at a university, you can always do the library loan through your public library.
Okay. And I also left my email address in the chat.
I got it. That's why I did a screen capture. That way I'd have it. So, but this was really wonderful, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed sharing information, and thank you for the opportunity to do.
And thank you. And offline, I'm probably going to contact you since you are local. And I have a lot of students in my area who would be interested in some of the things that you had to say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Mansfield. When I moved here, I actually lived in Arlington. So I'm very familiar with Mansfield, and it's just it's a great area.
Oh, okay. Because I teach at Tarrant County College.
You.
Yes.
Do they need any adjuncts?
We can talk about that offline.
Sounds good. Works for me. Okay, great. Well, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Allen. I just saw your comments in the chat. So thank you so much.